All right, YouTube, we are back with another tier list. This is for our AI controlled units. So we're going to be looking at a few different things that are manual control. It's not necessarily about who has the best skills or brings the most utility in this one. This is going to be, who the AI seems to let work to, most efficiently maximize our farming potential. So a lot of the times you're not going to be using just full-on AI for when you're doing your bigger boss fights or something like that, the more high-end content. But a lot of our day-to-day farming in the game, you're going to want to have a good team that can just auto it, because that's going to be too much that you're, for you to want to manually play every day. So that's what this tier list is about. So let's get in. Let's look at some of our units here. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat that if you're a staff user, you're going to get rated pretty low, because them on auto, they are terrible. We're going to put them all the way down into C category. That means both our Crimson Wizard and our Angela here. They're going to go down to that bottom rank area. Basically, they hardly use their skills. They'll run up, be in melee combat, try and hitting with their staff. If you've tried it, you know it's terrible. Those units definitely meant for manual play and manual play only. Next, what we're going to look at are units that are melee, but have some trouble because they don't have the bulk or the survivability to kind of really be playing around in there. And with that, we're going to look first at our newest unit, Seraphina. The reason I'm going to rate her pretty low is I think her kit is okay and everything like that, but she has no way to give real survivability. She can't really buff herself in that regard. She's already, utilizing two different stats between her physical strength and her magic damage with her intellect. And so when you're building her on your gear and everything, you're going to be prioritizing trying to get those two to make sure that her damage is okay, which means you're going to further neglect the bulky stats such as HP, Spirit, and Constitution, which is going to leave her quite vulnerable on autoplay for her survivability. So that's going to bring her down pretty far as well. Now let's also look here. We have Reese. Reese suffers from the same sort of thing, but she does have her ST, which kind of helps her kind of move around. And I'm going to give her the edge over Seraphina here, just because experimenting with her on auto, I have seen a little bit more success of her being able to get out of trouble or something like that when mobs start to surround her, being able to just shoot across the screen with her ST there. So we'll give her a little bit of a benefit there. Now, who else that we have? Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I think, is going to suffer from roughly the same sort of issues as Seraphina. Not enough bulk there, but what he does have is that ability to lower the unit's attack, which does help with survivability, and he does use it on a good frequent basis. So I'm going to put him just up here in A. He's not going to be the all-amazing AI unit that he was on the manual play, but still a decent unit to have. Now, let's all look at Lady Black Pearl here. She's going to suffer from some of the same issues as well. Luckily, her kit is built in a little bit tankier, but still, you need high investment on her to get her kit to work normally on manual. So when we're looking at it on here, on AI is not going to utilize her skills and her ST at the right frequency, and still going to be a problem. So she's going to get rated low on the AI as well. All in all, Lady Black Pearl, if you have her at +6, you know she's a good unit. Anybody else out there, I'm not sure she's worth building if you don't have the dupes for her, or if you're unwilling to work on getting those in the future. So that's why she gets rated low on both tier lists there. So, okay, now we're starting to get into what we have as our kind of bulkier units, and that's why we're going to see some of these rated pretty well in this tier list. Let's go for the last one here that does not have any bulk, and that is Popoyo, and I think he does really well on AI play. Pending that you have a good tank out there who can go in front of him to kind of take aggro, and then he can sit back at his range and just go to town. I think he's really good for that. I'm going to put him in the top of A here. Okay, Shiloh. Shiloh's a good unit. Has that bulk with that constitution buff like the sword users have. They gave us a lot of sword users at the beginning, and I think this is why is they typically are pretty good for the AI running of the game. They're just not as beneficial when it comes to the more manual play. And what I mean by that is I think you have higher chances for more damage on that manual play than the AI play with them. So I got my cat here. But we're going to put Shiloh. He's going to be up here in A as well. Good unit, especially if you can pair him with Kevin here, which we'll go over next. I think Kevin, all around, between both the manual and the AI tier list, is probably the best unit out there right now, because he gets to buff both his spirit and his constitution, and he hits like a truck. He doesn't bring any of the other utility, which I think is pretty nice, but he does have that, and I think that's really good for AI farming. I use him to farm just about everything, and I typically don't have any trouble. So definitely, I can't say anything better about that unit than that. So let's grab Duran here. Duran's got that break. He does use that break on his AI, which is really good as well. And he's got the bulk. And so I'm actually going to put him right above Hawkeye here, just because it's the survivability aspect of it. They both, I think, use their buff about the same, or debuff, I should say, about the same amount. And so in some cases, Hawkeye is going to come out on top with that. But Duran has that extra survivability that he'll use as well. So they're probably about the same in this regard. Overall, if you're looking at which one that you should go ahead and invest into, I would definitely say Hawkeye over Duran. But if you have Duran, he's pretty good for autoplay, is what I'm saying here. Keldrick. Keldrick is pretty good as well. I want to go ahead and give him in this A category, which is getting kind of stacked, which I knew it would. We want to give him probably right behind Shiloh, and I'll tell you why on this. Keldrick is a lot of a combo-based kind of unit, and when you're on AI play, if you're just letting the game run, they typically get hit by more crap. So that's going to be a problem for combo, sort of kit surrounding units. So that's why he's going to be just at the bottom of A. He's got the survivability. He's still got some damage that goes with him. And so that's going to be his issue. And, I might even drop him just to the top of B, just so we're not getting too overwhelmed there. That probably looks a little bit better. He's pretty close to Reese, I would think, on this anyway. So now we're on to our last unit here, and this is Sumo. And Sumo, I have found, has been my key to most of my auto playing. Without his heal to kind of make up for when my units get knocked over or CC'd or poisoned or this or that, without him being able to drop back and throw out some heals that are like, I don't even have his card and he's healing for like 1,600, a heal. That's crazy. I'm going to rate him right up here, right next to Kevin on this. You need a healer, I think, for any of your AI play, and you can definitely use Sumo. There's other healers out there that you can use, Charlotte and Museline, I think her name is, and Honeycomb. Like, those are good healers to use, but when we're looking at just the 4 stars here and Sumo, he's got great bulk with being able to buff his own constitution and then be able to heal. With that AI update that we had, he's turned out to be one of the best units and one of the best kind of tank/healers in the game. So you can't go wrong with using him for your AI farming. All right. I hope things are going well for you guys, and that's been my 2 cents.